Okay, Prabhuji, maybe we can just get started, and if someone joins, then good. But if not, yeah, not just in order not to
Okay.
waste time.
Okay. Vanchakalpatarvesya kripasindhubhayascha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. So, in welcome back to the class on Bhagavad Gita. So, till last week, we completed the first part of the first chapter, which is observing the armies. Now, today, let us focus on the second part, which is Arjuna's lamentation, Arjuna Vishada Yoga. So, here today, let's see the first two sections within this subsections within this section, which is uh, text 27 to 30 and then 31 to 35. The theme which is discussed in text number 27 to 30 is the compassion expressed by Arjuna towards his relatives. So let's go to the shloka. तान् समीक्ष्य च स कौन्तेय सर्वान् बन्धून् अवस्थितान् कृपया पर्याविष्टो विसिद्धन् idam abravit. When son of Kunti, Arjuna saw all these different gates of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. So, why he became overwhelmed is that there are 5 generations of people who have gathered. Usually, the family members gather for a good occasion or a festive season or some function within the family. But here the occasion is war, and one party will not go home alive. So it's going to be a killing spree. So Arjuna is not happy with this. So here we can see samiksha once again. There is an emphasis on after seeing. So yeah, and then kripaya apara. This is a material compassion. It's not a spiritual compassion. It is the compassion based on bodily attachments. And so we can clearly see here that the vision of a person is having a larger bearing on the emotion. So next, let us go to the next shloka. Let's go back here to the presentation. Swajanam. So there are 3 points. Swajanam, Krishna, good nature of devotees. So if you see here, Arjuna Vacha, Drishtve Mam Swajanam Krishna. So Krishna name is appearing for the first time in the entire of Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is like a intimate name. In Mahabharata, the two names which are commonly used is Kesava and Vasudeva. But Krishna is a special name. It is very intimate name. We will understand the Vishnu Sahasranama interpretation of this. Maybe once we are done with all the shlokas here, so that it is we can focus on the thematic flow of Bhagavad Gita rather than switching the screens. So we will do that. And here we see Swajanam. For the first time, uh, we see that Arjuna is using, they are my people, Swajanam, kinsmen. So till previous, if you see 1.23 is just asking Krishna to tell about to put the chariot in between so that he can see the people who have come to support Durbude Priya Chikirshava. That is the evil-minded Duryodhana. He want to see the people who have come to support evil-minded Duryodhana. But now we see that he is calling them is as his own people. So, and then we see many things here. Yuyutsam samupasita. Sidanti mama gatrani mukam cha parishishyati. There is quivering of his limbs. So, whenever somebody is affected by psychology, or mentally somebody is affected, or emotionally somebody is affected, it shows up in the as changes in the physiology also, like the body is squaring, the body and mouth is drying up. If somebody's relative is suddenly falls ill, then we see that the women start crying. So it is, the crying is a physical activity of the body, but they are emotionally affected. But here we see Kshatriya king is emotionally affected, and that shows up in his body. So we can see the kind of pressure which is going on in the body of, or the kind of pressure which is going on in the mind of Arjuna. So here, Prabhupada is mentioning that this symptom of compassion is because of the soft-heartedness of Arjuna. When the same thing Duryodhana was also seeing, but he was evil-minded, he was selfish, he wanted to take the kingdom back for himself. But here we see that Arjuna is showing symptoms of compassion, and this happens only when there is a soft-heartedness. So here he says that in devotee, all good qualities manifest. So that is what Prabhupada is taking shloka from Srimad Bhagavatam and is putting here. We'll go to the next shloka. वेपतस्तु शरीरे मे रोमहर्षस्य जायते गांडीवं श्रंसते अस्तात् त्वक्चैव परिदह्यते. So here our Arjuna is explaining all the symptoms on his body, and is trying to explain it first and to his close friend, which is Krishna. And here we see that Prabhupada is giving an explanation. All these are due to material conception. In the previous sloka, Prabhupada mentions that this all these are because of soft-heartedness of Arjuna, but here he is telling that it is the material conception. So how we can relate these two things? How there could be two different perspectives or two different contradictory statements in two successive shlokas. How is it possible? So we can understand it in two ways. Scriptures are available mainly to ensure that we gain knowledge. So one way we see is that a Kshatriya should be bold. He cannot be weak. So the symptoms which is shown here is not allowing Arjuna to do his duty. So that is one learning. The second learning is that in the previous shloka, a devotee is always compassionate. So and it is important for us to learn that if we are devotee, we show our compassion to the living entities, all other living entities. And how do we show? We show it in two ways. One is by giving them prasadam, and other one is giving them the holy name, and then give them the process of Krishna consciousness. By doing this, we show compassion. And the bodily symptoms, like taking care of our health, take too much care of our health, spending too much money on uh, things which are not necessary for our life, these are all a bodily conception of life. So we must ensure that Both these are our learnings. These are the learnings from this. Now, the other way of looking at it is that um, Arjuna is coming under the Yogamaya of Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Therefore, he is showing this bodily mentality or bodily conception of ignorance, and this results in um, coming up of Bhagavad Gita. And for a soul to be receptive of receiving a Bhagavad Gita, receiving the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, he must be submissive, he must be compassionate, he must be thoughtful, he must be well versed in scriptures. So these are some of the symptoms which Arjuna has. So there are two ways in which we can understand. One is every scripture we need to understand how it will help us in our personal life first. Second, in this specific case, Arjuna is getting into this bodily conception so that the Bhagavad Gita evolves. We can see the same thing in case of Parikshit Maharaj, who underwent a bodily pressure of thirst, and he had to go to the Shamika Rishi's kutir, and there he disrespects him, and ends he is cursed by a Brahma boy. And the entire thing of this bodily conception which he expressed results in entire Srimad Bhagavata. So this is how we understand when some mistake, or when we see that a great Vaishnava is put in illusion, there is something behind that which we are not able to understand at that point of time. As we go forward, we'll see it further. Otherwise, Acharya should explain. Here, Prabhupada explains this in this way. Okay, so we'll go to the next shloka. न च शक्नोमि अवस्थातुं भ्रमतीव च मे मनः निमितानि च पश्यानि विपरीतानि केशव. So here I am now unable. Here we see that Arjuna is telling, I am now unable to stand any longer. Once again, it's a physiological change. I am forgetting myself, and now it is affecting his mind. So I can see only the causes of misfortune. O killer of Kesi demon, Keshava. So Keshava is another name which he is putting. So Nimitani can be understood as causes or omens. This was a shloka which we also saw last week, where we understood that Arjuna is thinking whatever step he is going to take, it is going to be lose-lose situation. When something is lose-lose situation, we are not aware of what we need to do. And in this specific case, we see that Arjuna is getting bewildered. Um, just a moment. I'll just stop sharing. Are you? Yeah. So in this entire episode, we see that there are the Arjuna has come into the fold of Pratyaksh Praman, and he has gone into the mode of illusion. He is now in illusion, and so we see that Pratyaksh Praman, though it is a valid source of knowledge, it is not the final source of knowledge. So, and that too, when we are understanding a transcendental matter, it is important for us to ensure whatever we are gaining knowledge through our pratyaksh, whether it is in cognizance with the in consonance with the shastras. So therefore, we need to understand the shabda. There is a similar example in Ramayana where Kaikeyi Mata, who is very affectionate to Rama, she was poisoned by mantra. But there, the pratyaksha was done through years. Kaikai did not go to higher authority to understand whether what mantra is what she has perceived through her ears, whether it is correct or not, whether it is in consonance with shastras or not. But on the other hand, we see that Arjuna, when he is getting bewildered, he falls in illusion, and he sees that there are many things which are happening around him. He is not able to make any sense of it. He is not able to comprehend why these are happening, why he should get bewildered seeing his family members, why there is a compassion. He is not able to comprehend. So this does not mean that the incomprehensible is insensible. So we need to uh, understand it through by approaching a proper authority. In this case, it is Guru Shadhu Shastra. So instead of asking why this is happening, why this is happening, what we should do is we have to ask how should I handle this situation in through sadhu, sampradaya, and shastra. Guru, sadhu, and shastra. How I can do this? When we ask how, and pray to Lord, then sooner or later we get clarity and we can just go ahead. So here also we see that Arjuna is praying to Krishna. In second chapter, we see that Arjuna is praying to Krishna, and soon he gets clarity, and the entire Bhagavad Gita comes out. And in the middle of Bhagavad Gita, around 10th chapter, he agrees to Krishna, and then he asks further questions to enlighten the world on deeper concepts of bhakti. So pratyaksha pramana is there, but we have to understand the hand of God and go forward. I'll once again share my screen. You're able to see my screen?
No, Prabhuji, it is not visible now.
So Arjuna envisions things which is nimitani viparitani. Nimitani viparitani are significant. So nimitani can be identified as causes, or it can be also considered as omens. So is body twitching, body shivering, Gandiva falling from his hands, this the burning of his skin, all these are symptoms or omens which Arjuna reads as um, impending danger, impending future inauspiciousness or danger. Therefore, he is telling Krishna that I am not going to fight because these are all bad omens. So this also we discussed last week. This point in Anand Vrindavan Champu of Kavi Karnapur, there is a very good illustration of Kaliya Leela. So three things Kavi Karnapur is talking about, three important things. There are topographical changes, there are environmental changes, and then there are physiological changes. Topographical changes are like dark clouds, meteors, thunder without rain, and environmental changes are like whole's braying, owls hooting, our body twitching, and our body twitching is a physiological change. So when this happens to every resident of Vrindavana, and they run when they hear the news that Krishna is under fold of Kaliya. They all run there. So this omens we need to understand by approaching the higher authority. So Arjuna though he is telling he cannot give up the fight here, he has to approach a higher authority, and he needs to understand how he can, what is his self-interest. So Arjuna is showing in, his ignorance, but his goodwill is in fulfilling Krishna's will. So the incomprehensible thing here is that Krishna wanted to establish the rule of dharma in Bharatvarsha. So he wants to establish rule of Yudhishthir Maharaj, and for that he has already killed all the warriors, most of the warriors. So this one Arjuna does not know. Because we don't know that, it doesn't mean that there is no hand of God. There is hand of God. There is a clear sequence of activities which God plans, and we are just instruments in that. So Arjuna is just an instrument in it. By him giving up to the fight, does not mean that the warriors will not be killed. So this Krishna himself confirms in the 11th chapter. He says, Arjuna, Bhavya Savya Sachin, you just be an instrument and kill the warriors. So that comes in Bhagavad Gita. So we need to understand when there are incomprehensible things, it is we need to understand that our level of comprehension is less. We need to pray to Krishna to give clarity, and then we should just go ahead with our prayer. Things will get revealed. Like Arjuna gets a clear picture of what is Krishna's plan in course of Bhagavad Gita only. Okay, so with this note, let's go to the next shloka. न च श्रेयो अनुपश्यामि हत्वा सजनम आहवे न कांक्षे विजयम कृष्ण न च राज्यम शुकानि च. So once again, anupashyami, that is see, shreya is long term benefit. Now what is long term perspective? A student studying in a college, he may watch a football match, or he will go for music programs and so on. But is long term good is to complete the exam, get into career. Further long term plan is that if he comes in contact with a devotee, he gets into Krishna consciousness and makes a Krishna conscious life, so that he goes back home, back to God. That is actually the shreya for everyone. That is the goodwill, long term goodwill for everyone. So I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsman in this battle, nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness. So here he is talking about happiness. In the previous three shlokas, he was talking about compassion. Now, what is he seeing in long term? So first he is telling that I cannot tolerate killing of my relatives. And then that is very short. The next thing he is talking about is enjoyment. If I win this war, then I'm just putting this in a time scale perspective. If I win in this war, whom can I go and share the success of this victory with, if all the relatives are killed? So there is no enjoyment. The next thing that comes, I'll just go to the presentation. So the next thing that comes is, okay, if I kill these people who are like my relatives, then I will get sinful reactions. If I get sinful reaction, then I will not get heaven. I will suffer in hell. It is not only me, uh, all my relatives will go to hell, because the funeral rites or the proper offering of sacrifices every year, Shraddha sacrifices, are not given to them. So they will suffer in hell. So it is in the war, compassion. At the end of war, after death, then he says that when he is not there and all the relatives are killed, the entire family is going to get affected by this, because there are no strong men available in the family to take care of women. So the generations which are going to come later will suffer. So you can see that Shreya that is talking about is in time scale going up to the future generations. So so this is what we should understand. But for us, all this is of no use, because compassion for body is useless. Death is inevitable, and soul is indestructible. So why we have to have compassion for body? And if as a kshatriya, he has to fight the war. That brings him more enjoyment. When he fights and he kills his relatives, they dying in presence of Krishna will reach heavenly planet. So they also will enjoy, he also will enjoy. And if by killing them, he gets a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom. So there is enjoyment. Then Krishna tells to Arjuna, Arjuna, if you are fighting with the result in mind or fruit in mind, you will get sinful reaction. But if you fight with me in focus, there are no sinful reactions. So at the end of second chapter, these three questions are answered. Then comes destruction of family traditions. So this Krishna answers in third chapter, where he says, Arjuna, you are a Kshatriya. So be an example and show to people how Kshatriya kings handles war. I, as a Kshatriya, I follow my dharma. Janaka, who was a king, followed dharma. This is to ensure that we be good examples. So destruction of family traditions doesn't require only physical presence, it is also the kind of teachings, kind of lessons you teach the people by living the lessons. So end of third chapter, all these 3 points Krishna is closing. We'll see that as we go forward. So overall, our shreya is what? Our Shreya is to engage in Krishna consciousness, follow Guru Sadhu Shastra. So that is what Prabhupada writes here. Okay, so I just go to the next point. Though we are still in enjoyment, uh, I just thought I should explain you why Krishna consciousness is important and how this entire thing pans out in next chapters. Kim no rajena govinda kim bhoge jivitena va eshamarte kankshitam no rajyam bhoga shukani cha. Why I need this type of kingdom? What is the use? What is the use when the people with whom I have to share, they are not available? Then ता इमं वर्षते युद्धे प्राणां त्यक्ता धनानि च आचार्य पितरा पुत्र तथैव च पितामह मतुल शाश्वत पौत्र शाला संबंधिनस्तथा एतान् हन्तुम् इच्छामि घ्नतोऽपि मधुसूदन अपि त्रैलोक्य राज्यस्य हेतु किं नु मही कृते निहत्य दार्धराष्ट्रान् का प्रीति स्या जनार्दना. O Govinda, of what avail to us are the kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all those whom we may desire them are now arrayed on the battlefield? O Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncle, father in law, grandsons, brothers in law, and all relatives are ready to give up their life and properties, are standing before me, why should I ask? Why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them even in exchange for three worlds, let alone this earth. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? So there are three names of Krishna: Govinda, Madhusudana, Janardana, O maintainer of living entities. So Govinda, the connotation which we need to understand here is that okay, when when a person uses a name, or Arjuna in this case uses a name, there are three things to understand. One is the emotional state of the person. Second, the way the person who is calling the name, he wants to relate with the person to whom he is making the call. Third, he wants to fix the response he requires from the other party. So these are the three things. So now in this case, Govinda means is fulfiller of pleasure, giver of pleasure for the senses. So all pleasure for cows and senses. So here Arjuna is calling Krishna by this name. He's telling him, "Oh Arjun, oh Krishna, why you want me to kill them? You are fulfiller of pleasures of the senses. So my pleasure is in avoiding this battle. Why don't you understand it?" But the original meaning of, so that is actually the wrong way. This is how all the atheist materialists do. We want supreme personality of Godhead to supply our no, our fulfill our needs. That is what Arjuna is asking here. He is telling my senses are under flame. So Krishna, why don't you satisfy my senses by satisfy my sense and help me avoid this war? Then he is calling him Madhusudana. Prabhupada has actually not given any specific explanation for Madhusudana, but in some other place, Krishna, Prabhupada explains that Madhusudana is a demon. Madhu is a demon, and in this specific case, all bad things in Arjuna, Arjuna wants to kill, and he wants Krishna to kill that. In this specific case, Acharyas have not given any explanation, so we should not relate that meaning here. So I'm just giving the explanation for Madhusudana, and it is also not right for us to give an explanation when Acharyas have not given an explanation for that. But on the other hand, there is an explanation for Janardana. Arjuna here calls Krishna Janardana because Arjuna wants Krishna himself to destroy all the people. He is a maintainer of the living entities. So he is telling, "Oh Janardana, you are maintainer of the people. Why you want me to kill them? You yourself kill them. So why you engage me in this ghastly warfare and put me in sinful reactions?" So that is the connotation of Janardana. So we need to ensure that we engage ourselves in the in Krishna consciousness. So how do we do that? We need to understand paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya chadushkrita. So Krishna is maintainer of living entities. How he protects the devotees and kills the miscreants. By doing that, he ensures that he maintains a living entity. And in this case, Arjuna is an instrument to Vinashaya Chadushkritam and Paritranaya Sadhanam. Who are they? Pandavas. And Vinashaya Chadushkritam are the evil minded Duryodhana and the party which is supporting him. So that is how we should understand this shloka. I go to the next sloka, which is 1.36. Papamevashrayat asman atmaitan hatatayina tasmanara vayamantum dadrasan sa bandhavan Swajam hi katam hatva sukina shama madhava. So this one is sinful reaction as well as sukina, happiness as well as this is a mixed sloka, but I have considered it um, as happiness because that is the major idea here. So in this specific sloka, we need to understand three things. One is hatataina. So hatataina, Krishna is Prabhupada is giving six the examples of six kind of aggressors: a poison giver, one who sets fire to the house, and one who attacks with deadly weapons, one who plunders riches, one who occupies another's land, one who kidnaps a wife. So, if you see, all of this is done by Duryodhana on Pandavas. So, in the childhood, when childhood days, when Pandavas and Kauravas were together in Gurukul, one time it happened that Duryodhana always envied Bhima. Bhima was always a strong by his build, was always strong by his build, and also he was not so um, he was not so accommodative with respect to Duryodhana. Therefore, one time what happened? Um, Duryodhana befriended Bhima and gave him a feast, and in that feast he has mixed a poison. Now you can understand the mentality of Duryodhana, who even at that young age had such an evil mind to poison his cousin brother. So now after he poisons him, he also pushes him in one of the rivers. I think he pushes him in Ganges. So so now we can see the hand of Krishna here. That okay. So there's one more thing that we need to understand. In big rivers like Ganges, there are wormholes which open into other planets or other lokas. So this hole opens into Nagaloka, and as soon as Bhima is dropped, he enters into that wormhole and he goes to the Nagaloka. There, as soon as he enters that area, he is bitten by the snake. Now, the hand of Krishna is that the poison that Duryodhana gave to Bhima, it was counteracted by the snake bites or the poison of the snakes which bit him at the entrance to Nagaloka. So there he meets his relative and then his grandfather, and then he drinks a tonic which makes him as strong as 10,000 elephants, and he becomes a strong person. So Duryodhana was a poison giver. Then in Varnavrat, the entire house of lacquer was set into fire, but Pandavas were very shrewd. They were helped by Vidura and they escaped there. And in many places, like Virat, Panchali's Swayambar, they were attacked by strong, deadly weapons by Duryodhana. And of course, in the Asat Sabha, is the riches of Pandavas were plundered by Duryodhana. So that was the entire dice game was to make them strip them of any wealth. So it was never a game. It was a plundering match. Then they occupied the land of Yudhishthira, and Duryodhana was not willing to give even a small piece of land which can drive a pin into the ground. So he was not ready to give even that. So that way, he occupied their land, and of course, in Asatsava, they wanted to uh, take the wife of the Pandavas. So that way, Duryodhana was Atatayana. And here, Krishna is addressed as Madhava. So Arjuna wants to tell that, oh, husband of goddess of fortune, um, why you want to bring this misfortune in my life? So, but we need to understand that Krishna's approach is a benevolent approach. It may not be pleasant. It is a benevolent approach. This also we discussed last week. So it is like surgeon's knife. If there is a wound, the surgeon has to clean it. If there is a injection which needs to be given, it needs to be given, so that in long term the problem is sorted out. So that is the benevolence of Krishna. So we need to understand this here. Okay, so with this, we come to the end of this section. There are a few things that we need to understand here. There is 2 minutes here. I think I may have to take a little bit more time because we need to discuss the um, Vishnu Sahasranam. Somehow I'm not able to use my mouse. So Krishna is used as is Krishna. There are two places in Vishnu Sahasranam where we get the name Krishna. Agraya Shashvata Krishna Lohitaksha Pratadana Prabhuta Dhama Pavitram Mangalam Param. The most important form of Supreme is. So Baladev Vidyabhushan gives his commentary. So the most important form of Supreme Lord is form of Krishna. He is telling that it is full of bliss and it is completely spiritual. So if you see this Atasi flower, it is dark blue in color, Atashi flower. And that is the form, the color of this form. And in Mahabharata Udyog Parv, there is a um, explanation of this word. Krishibir bu vachaka shabdo nachas nivriti vachaka tayor aikyam param brahma krishna iti abhidyate. The word Krish is the attractive feature of Lord's existence, and Na means spiritual pleasure. When word Kris is added to the affix Na, it becomes Krishna. So this is more grammatical, but for us on the spiritual side, if we understand this, this is fine. This is what I have put here. And of all the names of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna is most important name. Nama Mukhyatamam Nama Krishnakya Me Parantapa. So this is also quoted by Baldev Vidyabhushan in his commentary. Then in text number 72, Veda Swango Jita Krishno Dida Sankarshano Chutah Varuno Varuno Vriksha Pushkaraksho Mahamanaha. He resembles a blue lotus flower. So the flower which is associated with this Krishna name is blue lotus flower. Then I just take a few more minutes. Somehow I'm not able to use this. Then Govinda. So in here we have two places where Govinda is used. Maheshwasho Mahibharta Srinivasa Shatam Gati Aniruddha Suranando Govindo Govindampatihi. So he gives pleasure to cows, land, and senses. Then text 71, Mahavaraha Govindo Sushekshana Kanakangadi. Kuhyo Gaviro Gahano Guptaschakra Gadadaraha. Lord Varaha found earth at the bottom of Rasatala ocean and rescued because he gives pleasure to earth. So, so here it actually means to this Govinda actually refers to Varaha, and this is my interpretation that when Kimno Rajena Govinda, Kimboger Jivitenava, in that verse, he is using Govinda. So, does he refer to Varaha, who is dear to earth? Maybe, I don't know. Acharyas have not given that explanation, but I'm just trying to link. It is just a simple attempt, no way to given. It's a simple understanding. I thought maybe Arjuna knows about Varaha and hence he has used this word Govinda. Then Krishna is Madhusudana, Ishana Pranada Prano, Jesta Shrestha Prajapati, Hiranyagarbo, Bhugarbo, Madhavo, Madhusudana. So Baladev Vidyabhushan quotes Lord Shiva's explanation of name Madhusudana. Madhu Samsara Nameti, Tato Madhu Nisudana. Madhu means the material existence of repeated birth and death, and Nisudana means killer. Therefore, the name Madhusudana means he who stops the repetition of birth and death. He also gives one more explanation. Remembrance of Lord puts an end to repetition of birth and death in this material world. So this is Madhusudana. And then Janardana. Sarva Vaga Sarva Vidbhano Vishvaksheno Janardana Vedo Veda Vidavyango Vedango Vedavit Kavihi. He who kills people who oppose the protection of devotees. He who is petitioned by people for happiness. So I think the Janardana meaning which Srila Prabhupada has given is nice, and it explains the context. Um, I just want to go back to the slide here. So here, if you see Kimno Rajena Govinda, this is land. So Govinda here could be related to Varaha, and then Madhusudana. Madhusudana is the one who is delivering us from birth and death. So, in presence of Krishna, if all of them are remembering or they will remember Krishna, and if they die, there is no repetition of birth and death for that. So that also, this also seems to be matching the Baldev Vidyabhushan's interpretation of Madhusudana. Of course, Janardana is protector of devotees. So I think that way, just by looking at it, it's a simple attempt. No way to just to connect by meanings, nothing else. To me, it looks very appropriate to have these names in this place, but there is no purport. Yeah, if somebody in future comes, then it would be and gives an explanation. It would be very nice. Okay, so with this, we come to the end of the class. Any questions on this, please?
Well, Prabhuji, one thing I would like to have clarified, as you were speaking, that there are these three aspects that we can understand, that as Arjuna is addressing Krishna by several different names, and three different aspects how we can understand the meaning. And the last item was that Arjuna wants to fix the response. So what do you mean by that?
So he wants to stop fighting. Arjuna does not want to fight. So he is giving him three reasons. One reason is uh, you are Govinda. So when you are Govinda, you are going to fulfill the, give pleasure to the senses. So why you want to burn my sense, Krishna, by engaging me in this war? So please understand me and please help me avoid this war. That is how it is to be understood. So the emotional state is perturbed, his senses are flamed, and Govinda can give pleasure to the burning senses. So that is why he is addressing Krishna as Govinda. And the expected action is stop fighting.
Right. So in other words, can we say that by such addressing, Arjun is seeking to persuade Krishna to, well, to fulfill.
Yeah, fulfill his desire. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
say
Okay.
that, bro. It is like in our normal Hindu family, we pray to God to fulfill our desire. So Asina is trying to do the same thing. We consider God as order supplier.
Okay, very good. Well, another thing I wanted to ask, unless anyone else has some questions. Okay, so I'll just go ahead. So, yeah, so our position is somewhat similar to that of Arjuna, and if there are such emotional bodily changes, they are almost inevitably on material grounds only. So, what is the method for transgressing from this platform to these, as you were also mentioning briefly about these bodily changes of the Brajavasis when they hear that Krishna is in the coils of Kaliya. So
Yeah,
is it simply that we get absorbed in Srila Prabhupada's books and chant the holy name, or is there some other
yeah.
key element we must
So
apply?
key element is we get up every day morning at 3:50, be present for Mangalarti. That is the first symptom. And we should be able to take bath in cold water, bath every day. These are directly perceivable. Avoid eating food outside. Eat only prasadam. These are very fundamental. And for this also you need to pray to Krishna. Krishna, please give me strength and determination so that I can get up every day early in the morning and be available for the Mangalarti. Please help me chant your holy names without falling asleep. And I should focus on every syllables very nicely. So these are direct symptoms. We don't need anything else, bro. If we don't fight with devotees, if we be focused on our work, our service, do the same service again and again and again without any change. We don't need any taste. We need to just repeat the same thing again and again, and that's enough. We are not here to build a career of Krishna consciousness. We are here to complete our life, which is dreadful, which is full of problems, which is full of disturbances, birth, death, old age, and disease again and again. And so, the easiest way is to just do the duty that is given to us with full interest, and whatever menial job it is, we should just do it again and again. Every every day we should do the same thing. That is taste. So we don't need any special symptoms. Just to stick to the job that we do, which is assigned to us, with full interest. That is the first symptom, Prabhu.
Very good. Yes, it is simply because of the rascaldom. I always trying to seek for some shortcut or some magic trick, how to get
Yeah,
things moving.
yeah.
Yes. Well, Prabhuji, we just one slight detail, as you have also previously mentioned about the importance of having a cold shower. So it seems like such a minor detail. So what is the significance or importance of that?
So it puts us in distress. We don't know. how distressful death is going to be. So, being only in distressed condition, it is easy to remember Krishna. So, practice that every day. The easiest is the cold shower. You will know you have to call Krishna to protect you from the cold water.
Brilliant, brilliant. Haribo.
So we are practicing Krishna consciousness is art of dying. It is not heart of living. It is heart of dying. Because this place is full of miseries. So anything that we do here is decoration of dead body. So we have to be sensible about this. And whatever Krishna conscious activity we get, that is Sneha Vikrama Nashasti Pratyavayana Vidyate Swalpa Apiyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahatobhayat. Even a small endeavor here will protect us from greatest danger. The greatest danger is losing the human life. If we go down to worm life or fish life, we do not know when we will get back the human life. Therefore, this human form of life we have got, and in that human form of life, we have got association of Srila Prabhupada's books, devotees. So we should use this and go forward. So this is the most interesting thing. Yeah. Okay. So if there is something in the chat, somebody has left a message in the chat. Okay. Any other question? I actually wanted to, in our next class, at least, I should be talking about um, something, something from compassion. See, Bhagavad Gita is preliminary study of Bhagavatam. So the compassion which Arjuna is talking about is uh, is also there in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is in the life of Bharat Maharaja, where he was compassionate to a deer. Dhruva Maharaja wanted to enjoy the opulence as big as or as great as his great grandfather, that is Brahma. So he wanted enjoyment. Prahlad Maharaj was ready to kill his father, or he was, no, he was completely out of sinful reactions. That is why he was able to go close to Narsimhadev and deliver his father from the sinful reactions. Then Ajamila was a Brahmana boy who fell down, and he is a good example of destruction of family traditions. But all of them were great devotees. So I wanted to explain this as we go forward, maybe in the next class when we are concluding 36 to 46, which will happen maybe in the next weeks. We will touch upon this. Then it would be very interesting how we relate Bhagavad Gita with Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Hare Krishna. So we come to the end of the class. Vancha kalpatarvya kripa sindhuvaya patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you very much, all of you devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Tanvatra.
And